I want to do a research today. Is there a parent who can raise their hand and say they're supporting LGBTQ? Because everyone who was throwing stones at me, nilikuwa najua the young people there on Twitter, na nimetumiwa mawe na kila mtu. And the best thing nilifanya, the first day nilisema, I know, number one, they'll come with threats. Number two, I'll be banned. Number three, they'll create a propaganda, which walisha create propaganda, wakasema, oh, you see, they use the same propaganda. Oh, liachwa, oh, you understand, yeah? They'll use the same propaganda. They'll come with another narrative, wakasema, oh, umelipwa ndo upushia agenda. I'm like, what do you mean? You understand? So, I know. And then the third agenda, I know. Nimeshafanya research. The third propaganda they'll come with it, wanakujanga wanasema, wewe unabishana because pengine wewe ni mmoja wao. You understand? We know those tactics. We know them. Kindly, you guys, look. Let's do it.
Hey everyone, hope you all doing so well. Right here tuko Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and see who we have on our channels. Tuko na Daddy Owen mwenyewe ameland from Rwanda. Na tunataka tupatie kwanza tuambie jani imekuwa vipi, tuambie alienda kufanya nini pia. Daddy Owen, mambo vipi?
Poa sana manzi.
Karibu sana.
Nimefurahi sana. Finally I'm back at home. Nimekuwa away for like 2 months. So imekuwa poa. Rwanda, I was not in Rwanda alone, nimekuwa Rwanda, Congo na Burundi. Muko na, apart from music, apart from music, I have my own farm. Muko na kampuni ya tech. I do tech, banking and all that.
Okay, labda tueleze hizo country zote ulikuwa unafanya nini, labda tu just take us through.
Nilikuwa nafanya investments in those countries because bado kuna vitu uko Kenya tuko very advanced when it comes to technology. So uko ukiingia kuna projects mob sana unapata za bank, mashule and all that. So mu wafanya setup ya all those things, all those platforms. Yeah, so zilikuwa contract nilikuwa nimeenda kusign.
Juke huko tuliona umeposta kuwa mother-in-law unexpect mtu. So venye umekuja hivi tulikuwa tunafikiria, and also the comment section watu walikuwa ni kama dada ameenda kutafuta huko mrembo from Rwanda, tuna expect ukikuja unaingia na mrembo, lakini tumeona
ukija hata nikipata anabaki tu huko. Siwezi leta huko tena mwanzo huyo nikipata.
Ina maana labda kunaye.
Unajua Rwanda ni kuzuri. Rwanda ni kuzuri, so all I can say, I'm just weighing my options. Unajua nilisema mimi ni sharpshooter. Mimi si mtu wa TV hivi. I'm weighing my options.
Kule utapata kienyeji sababu ile wakati ulisema kama
hakuna vienyeji.
So Kenya ndo kuna vienyeji.
Vienyeji tumeacha hapa Kenya. But siko sawa huko. All I can say pia, ni poa pia una cast your net. Unajua? Cast your net wider.
So last month kuna certain nini ilikuwa inatembea, there was a certain screenshot kwamba account yako iko based in Rwanda and actually many people thought you had like relocated from Kenya.
Yeah, because there's so much I'm doing there. Because when you're talking about Central Africa, Rwanda is like the center of it because ndio iko East Africa community, but when undakuongelea about those countries around there, Rwanda of course iko so advanced in technology na pia development na pia infrastructure. So when you want to do something in Congo, or you want to do something in Burundi or Central African Republic, you must set up in Rwanda. So niliona nika set up in Rwanda. So I was just traveling to Congo, Burundi and all these other countries around Gabon. But everything nilikuwa nafanya Rwanda.
Right, maybe ni mpango ambao uko nayo labda relocating from Kenya to maybe Rwanda.
No, I think world open up sana. And weirdly by the watu huko Rwanda kuna mafans wanawajua nyinyi hapa, wanawatchingi sana. Niliona watu wanawatch sana nikashanga Kenya imefika mbali to that level. Kuna wase mimi najua hapa ni mabloggers but huko wanajulikana sana. So nikasema if all these guys are known paka Rwanda, mbona pia mimi nisicast my net to other region ama other countries around our region. Yeah.
Right now Owen on social media, especially YouTube, unaongelea kuhusu how you released your songs and watu wanataka the system ya Kapungala venye kulikuwa huko back irudi. Yes. Maybe what are your plans in 2023 because hata hivyo ukiona Eric aliwapiga sana kwenye mtandao and you did a video ukaongelelea, tulikutafuta sana uongee kwenye hizi blog zetu but ulijificha. So right now tunataka kusikia from you, what are your plans?
My plans ziko tu sawa kabisa. My plans ziko tu sawa kabisa. Na plan kutoa another album again this year and I'm working on it pole. It's not like ati an album si kitu una compile singles unaweka together. Ni kitu lazima ujue transit from what version of Daddy Owen to which new version of Daddy Owen, because ni kitu the same thing itakuwa tu ni the same Daddy Owen tumejua, but ukikuja ulete a brand new sound na kitu very different, everyone will be like, oh, hii ni kitu tofauti and this is what we want to hear. So right now I'm working on, in fact even right now nimekuwa na producer fulani naye kutoka Tanzania, so naleta sound hiyo, ina sound kama Tanzania choir and all that, something very different because it's a project.
Speaking of a sound, na tumeona kama umetoka kule Rwanda and of course watu wengi wakati kulikuwa na hii debate ya gospel industry hapa hivi Kenya walikuwa nasema kwamba of course the West African countries are doing so well in terms of gospel. Maybe una plan labda ya kumshirikisha mwanamuziki wa gospel kutoka mataifa kama hayo?
Yeah, because West Africans by the way walikuja waka embrace something yenye sisi tulianza. Gospel, kuna wakati I remember 2010 when I went to Nigeria for TV Mama Awards. After winning the award, I was the only artist across Africa who was doing contemporary gospel music. These other artists wote walikuwa wanafanya mostly just in church and that inaishi hapo. So watu kama sisi tulikuwa tunaka very different, because unajua huko walikuwa wamezoea tu only choir and all that. So even doing a collab ilikuwa very hard. Hawako wameembrace kuona kama vitu na kina Sinach sahi, all these other artists. But I think it's just more of pia wamekaa chini wakaona they have to advance in whatever they're doing. And we really, for me, na appreciate sana because 2010 there was no one. Hata nakumbuka MTV wanted to do like an album, to compile an album across Africa between me and other artists. And they couldn't find artists who are doing same kind of gospel that I was doing at that time. So it's a challenge that they took up. Na ukiangalia sahi wameadvance sana hata kutuliko, but you never know. So sahi sisi nyo tuko hapa tutakuja kuchange some things. You never know. Tunaweza leta a newer sound that itakuwa hao ndio watakuja kucopy na kuembrace.
Okay, Owen, this is kind of a personal question but I have to ask because you here.
Basi unauliza?
Yes, wacha niulize. So, unajua ulipotea sana kwenye industry, especially kwenye gospel industry ulipotea sana na watu wakaanza kusema kuwa relationship ilikuwa affect. Like now, pale nyuma ulikuwa na mrembo. Then it happened, you guys mkaseparate and everything. Does it mean maybe relationship yako ndo ilifanya hadi music pia ukakuwa affected? Maybe to clarify to our fans also, wapate kuelewa.
No, unajua music is very different. And one thing I know about music is very selfish. Music uko very selfish, inapenda attention. Music inapenda, if you're working today, kuingia studio, unafanya album na vitu kama hizo, make sure that unaipa hiyo attention na deserve. The moment unaanza kupea other things attention and all that, you'll find, na si mimi peke yangu, hata ukiangalia vizuri worldwide, unasikia huyu ameoa, vitu zake zinaanza kuwa challenging, unajua? So sometimes si lazima kuoa peke yake, unaweza kuwa tu hata in a relationship that is so demanding level whereby concentrating on music can, you understand? So siwezi sema per se ilikuwa ni my marriage ama vitu kama hizo, but it's more of music is so demanding. Ni hata hivyo combine music na vitu kama job. That's why unasikia mzee akianza 8 to 5 kufanya music inakuwa hard. So music ina demand too much of your attention and time that juggling the two balls sometimes is very hard. Yeah.
Now you've been vocal about something ambayo imekuwa ikitrend sana in our country. I'm talking about the ruling by the High Court here, the Lgbtq community. And now that you're back in the country, I'm sure utakuwa here for some time. I don't know whether there are plans of maybe doing something, a campaign or something like that.
Yeah. As in, I've been very vocal about this because I know it's the main plan. I was the first person to tweet about this thing na kuanza kupush hiyo story it changed the narrative because nilikuwa nimepewa information. I was tweeting from a point of information. I was not tweeting from what hearsay in go around. Mimi nilikuwa nimetumiwa information why that thing was being registered, why they did it and what is the plan.
And tell us maybe information about.
You see, whatever the ruling that passed, it's for me, I was nabadinda kusema live I was very shocked because to be very honest, if you can allow such an NGO, an organization, for me, I've registered my organization, yeah? I'm still in the process, but I've done that registration. I know the process. It's not an easy process. It's a long process. By the time you finish registering an NGO, it means there are steps that the DCI, all these people have gone through, and even there's they must read your memorandum of understanding and they must read your constitution. And they must know who are in the board and everyone who is, you understand, who is in that organization. And what is the plan of the organization to do. And you must state it very clearly. So if everyone read that thing and knew that this is what these guys are planning and they approved it, it means there's something wrong somewhere. Because my question is, if you can say this thing in the constitution is a crime, but when it comes for them to come and mingle and, you understand, and group together and go for any activity as an NGO, it's okay, then there's something wrong. It means drug dealers can come together and register an NGO. It means bandits can come together and register an NGO. It means terrorists can come together and register an NGO. To a level of even rapists can come together, because if something is a crime, how do you allow from that rule? Because that's criminality. From that rule, it's a constitution. And you see, the power is with the people. And with the people. And from the word go, I remember even when we were changing the constitution, some of us, we were vocal a long time ago, and we said, this constitution is not okay the way we want. But we were told, kuna madoadoa kidogo, that one we can rectify. And this was the issue. Because the issue comes in through the point of gender and sex. The definition of gender and definition of sex. Because if you can't classify sex as just the act. You understand? Sex is gender. So the moment you just classify sex as just the act alone and leave it on the other side, it means it's left for everyone to translate the way they want. And that's my problem. And I always tell people, the reason why this NGO, let me tell you the truth, the reason why this NGO is registered, they want to go to schools. That's the purpose of that NGO. They want to go to schools. You understand? And if they go to schools, they start talking to other people. You don't know what they're going to tell people, what they're going to tell our kids. You understand? If they're going to tell our kids things that we know will change their mentality, you understand? That's a foundation for something that will never uproot it in future. So right now, we need to nip the bud early as now. You understand? Because the moment we let it grow, we will not cut down that tree. That tree will become a baobab tree, but then uprooting it will be another issue.
Pengine niulize, baada ya wewe kujitokeza kuhusu hii issue yote, kuna simu umepata pengine ukaambiwa nyamaze, pengine
Let me tell you the truth. Nimepata threats mingi sana. Na wananipigia, wananiambia, you know you're dealing with powerful people. Naambia, in fact, there's one I told. Nikamwambia, I'm not going to report to the police. I'm not a coward. Why should I report to the police? I want to face you. Wacha nikuje Kenya tukutane. Face to face, in public. Saki hata mambo we meet in public. I'm not scared of anyone. I'm not scared of anything. You understand? I've been told those guys are very powerful. If you deal with them, they'll finish you. I'm not scared. I'm not a coward. I'm not reporting anyone to the police. By the way, if someone has an issue, come, let's meet. This is the media I'm announcing. Come, let's meet face to face.
So how
eyeball to eyeball.
How prepared are you?
I'm so prepared, man. Unajua mimi nimegrow up. No, hata siri security mimi najijua. Mimi, let me tell you the truth. Hii ni life nimeishi. So, kuna vitisho zingine tu sisi hazituangi. You understand? You must stand for something. Yeah. You must stand for something. And I'll tell you the truth. This journey is not as easy as people think. I know it's going to be tough. Because, you know, let me tell you the truth. By the virtue of the Supreme Court, it's not the High Court, it's the Supreme Court that has already ruled on this thing. It means reversing it is not a joke. You understand? We have to wait for another sitting. And if they don't sit, I'm telling you the truth. We should go even to the level. This will sound like weird. This will sound, people will say, hey, we are not getting from out of, I've done my research. It ended to the level whereby, paka siku ya referendum, this thing must be changed. It must be changed.
Sababu normally we normally see a cancel culture whereby ukiongea vitu ambavyo watu wengi au some powerful people hawakubaliani nazo, you know, you tend to be cancelled, you know, by the community, social media zako, accounts zako. Pengine uko tayari kwa hiyo?
By the way, if you follow me on social media, you'll discover Instagram by now, number 1, walitoa post zangu. Number 2, you see hiyo unakwanga hapo juu inakwanga paid partnership. Ni yangu haiwezi. So it means I can monetize my Instagram. I'm ready for that. Number 3, my Instagram can never be recommended to anyone. Unaona ile venye wewe scroll unapata mtu hata ujui mfollow imekuwa recommended. Yangu haitaikuwa recommended. So likes zangu na hits zangu za watu wale wananifollow peke yake na utakonga nayo. From now nimeandika vitu zote. From now henceforth I'll never monetize on my Instagram. I'll never be recommended. You understand? And they are still deleting my posts. And they've given me the final warning that they're going to delete my Instagram. I'm telling you the truth. I'm ready to stand for the truth. If you're not ready to stand for the truth, at the end of the day, you'll be a coward. And if all of us become cowards, this thing will have... One day I went on Twitter nikaandika nikasema, is there a parent? I want to do a research today. Is there a parent who can raise their hand and say they're supporting LGBTQ? Because everyone who was throwing stones at me, nilikuwa najua the young people there on Twitter, na nimetumiwa mawe na kila mtu. And the best thing nilifanya, the first day nilisema, I know, number one, they'll come with threats. Number two, I'll be banned. Number three, they'll create a propaganda, which walisha create propaganda, wakasema, oh, you see, they use the same propaganda. Oh, uliachwa, oh, you understand, yeah? They'll use the same propaganda. They'll come with another narrative, wakasema, oh, umelipwa ndio upushie agenda. I'm like, what do you mean? You understand? So, I know. And then the third agenda, I know. Nimeshafanya research. The third propaganda they'll come with it, wanakujanga wanasema, wewe unabishana because pengine wewe ni mmoja wao. You understand? We know those tactics. We know them. Kindly, you guys, look for another tactic. That one is old school. Look for another tactic. I'm ready to deal with you. I'm ready to battle with you. And I'm ready to sit down with you to argue with facts. If anyone who supports can come and sit with me, we debate. I'm willing. I'm willing to poke holes in that stuff. I'm willing. And I'm ready.
Maybe ningetaka kujua hii issue ya LGBT community. LGBT hiyo. Community ni kitu ambacho ni sensitive sana.
Yes.
Na maybe wewe ambao ile society umelelewa, mazingira yako sio ya hii community. Na agenda yako maybe ni kucommunicate, kueducate watu wajue kweli, kuweka vitu wazi. Of course kuna watu wengi wanaficha wazi, kuweka wazi. Na kampeni yako ya online imekuwa na backlash. Wase wanakupiga vita most of the time. I don't know now next move na make ni gani, maybe kuenda kwa ground ama kuinvolve corporates, kuinvolve government, kuweka constructive sit down na conversation whereby watu wanaweza express feelings zao, interests zao, na tukakuwa na something productive and engaging. And then another thing is that sijui maybe kama kuna rafiki wa karibu ambao maybe wamekuthreaten ama ungependa pia kuwaweka wazi, ama sijui bado time haijafika kuweka watu ambao wana yes. Sorry. So to answer your question, number one, I know what I'm dealing with. Siati ni kitu sijui, because even from America, mnajua mna watu wengi wakiwa cancel when they speak up about this thing. And for me, number one, na deal na Christianity. Number one, that's a sin. When it comes to Christianity, it's a sin. Number two, when it comes to our constitution, it's a crime. You understand? Si kitu tunaweza sema iko allowed in our constitution. It's a crime in our constitution. Our constitution inakataa. So why should we allow criminality to happen in our country? Number three, our posterity. I just believe our young people, our foundation, the young people, we must safeguard our future. Because these kids, if you do a research in Kenya, if you do a research in Kenya, most of these people, they turn and become the LGBTQI in high schools. So it means our high schools, the breeding place for these things to happen. So it means there's a gap somewhere. It means there's someone who's promoting this thing, and there's a system that is working on it to continue. Because most of these guys, it's next to impossible to meet a kid who's in primary school to tell you that they embrace such narrative. But after high school, that's when you start seeing these people. Question number two, what next? He asked what next. What next is, as we speak, there are some buttons but then nilipress zenye kuna speech zilitolewa, nilikuwa nimepress hizo button. You understand? Wewe unajua niliongea na nani, hata usiwache kuniangalia unajua niliongea na nani. So there are some buttons nilipress for very powerful people to make a speech about LGBTQ in this country. It means, apart from that, niko na friends who are lawyers, I have friends who are politicians. We are using all ways possible. If it's going to parliament, if it's going to law, if it's try to see what's the next. I've spoken to my lawyers who wameshanipatia the definition of what should be done next. Apart from that, nimeongea na churches. As you can see, even as you speak right now, churches are always meeting about this issue. They are looking for ways to approach it. There's something called advocacy. Advocacy is very powerful, even in the Supreme Court. They listen to what people are saying because power is with the people. Yes, Supreme Court is final, but advocacy can make us go back and review whatever was passed. You understand? So I'm busy with advocacy, and there are people who I'm talking to who can help me or we can come together and make sure we change whatever is happening. This is a narrative that these guys were throwing to see how we'll behave. The more we talk about it, the more they figure out what's our reasoning towards this issue. So they know, even if now we become loud and we object this move, they know where we sit and how we reason, and they'll come back again with another plan. So it's just for us to be gatekeepers.
Now, Daddy Owen, of course, your sentiments kuna vile zinaambatana na zile za Pastor Tim Wangi. He also spoke the same against the LGBTQ community and even proclaimed judgment if in case the law is passed in Kenya. Do you think maybe kutakuwa na repercussion if such laws are passed in Kenya spiritually, as you as a Christian? Are there laws, are there things, repercussions against whatever will happen?
As a spiritual person, this is what I'll say. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. But if you guys have been on TikTok or on social media, there's an incident that happened in Brazil. They had something like a carnival. Yeah. They expressed, like, they celebrated for like a few days, celebrated Satanism. They even built a very big demon, model of an idol, to worship, you understand? And they even had a man who was dressed like Jesus, and they were whipping him on the streets, and they were shouting and celebrating. And you know what happened after that? A few days later, there was great floods, earthquake in the same street. Yeah, you understand? So it's just for you to translate what we know, if that thing is right or wrong. And even we were taught, so many of us, we know about Sodom and Gomorrah. And I told everyone, this thing is not even about Christianity alone. Even the Muslims don't agree to this. So it's not a Christianity issue. Even the Muslims agree. In fact, even the Muslim is even worse. They don't even agree to this. You understand? For us, we have even moment to discuss.
But Owen, we've done interviews with some of the LGBTQ members that have said kuna wale wako kwa government, also they are approaching them to wakwe in relationship with them. So maybe you fighting this thing wanasema it won't even work because already.
That's the same thing niliambiwa. This one you'll not win. Trust me. We know. I've been in so many battles. The ones that I know, they are different approach. They always say there's so many ways to kill a rat. Yeah. You understand? So those threats don't work with us. Power is with the people. We've seen dictators fall. We've seen even in this country, we've seen so many people falling from, you understand, from grace. Yeah. And right now, as we speak, we know the plan is to make sure that they change the constitution to favor them. And the moment this thing becomes law, there's nothing we can do. But trust you me, so many Kenyans are against this thing. And if we go for a referendum, that's when you know how much Kenyans don't want this thing. Yeah. The few, of course, we always have these few people here and there who will always try to change things according to law. But the truth always prevails because our constitution is based on our customs, on our religion, or on who we are as a people. You understand? Because constitution don't look the same. You can go to another country, the constitution is different from ours. But for us here, our African customs and traditions don't allow this. Christianity don't allow it. Even the Muslims don't allow this. So who are we?
But then looking at the whole scenario, one thing I can point out is many countries ambazo ziko well developed than Kenya, first world countries, wamejaribu kuifight wakashindwa. What makes you think that sisi kama wa Kenya tutaweza?
Bwana, our neighbors here kwanza wamesha pass law. Uganda. So what's so hard? You understand? Because the thing about LGBTQ has been, if you do your research very well, why are they campaigning for this thing to happen? You understand? Why are they campaigning for this thing to happen? Because, number one, those people in the West, right now they're fighting binary issue. You understand? They don't know. And right now, if you call someone he and it's a she, according to her, you can be jailed. I'm like, what are you talking about? There are only two genders we know in this world. You understand? So no matter how much you change your gender, no matter how much you change your appearance, when you die, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when you come and dig out that body,
we'll do a test. And it will only say if you're a man or a woman. These other things are just, you understand? Hecklers trying to put things in us. Because we know even from days immemorial, even from the Bible, it was wrong. From the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, it was wrong. And we speak about it right now. You can't force your culture. You can't force your culture on us. We have our own culture. We have our own beliefs. You understand? Right now, I can't force the West to do everything that we do here in our country just because they are the West. You understand? So whatever they have, whatever they believe in, let them believe in whatever they believe in, but they have to know for the first time, we are going to stand and say no to this thing. I'm telling you the truth.
Okay,
we are not losing this war.
Okay, and maybe if I may ask, Dadion, do you think the dark ends dunia inaelekea kuisha when people are trying to push the LGBTQ thing?
So many things are happening, yeah? And so many things are happening. And for me, I always say there are signs to tell you that these are the things that we never saw when we were young. You understand? Yeah. These are things that we never saw when we were young. So we need to ask ourselves so many questions. Why are they happening right now? Why exactly right now? You understand? Yeah. Even the timing of these things. Why now? And when you read about the news happening across the world, you feel like there are some punishments that even the world is receiving from all this that is happening. You understand? And more so, if you follow whatever is happening in the world. That's why so many people are embracing Russia and China, because the Chinese will not come and force their culture on you. You understand? If you're doing business, do business. Malizane kama ni kulipa SGR, mtalipa SGR paka malizane ishe. Lakini they'll never come with imposing their culture on us, telling us, now, before we give you money, you must do this. You understand? So, we can't be always scared of those sanctions and accept their culture. No way. I know people will say, hey, anaongea na amevaa shati ya wazungu, anaongea. There are things we'll appreciate. There are things we'll not appreciate. Even for them, there are things they embrace from us, but there are things they can never embrace from us.
Ndio inasemekana ulipewa milioni kama 20 unyamazie historia na ishe na uache kuongea uendelee na maisha yako usanii.
Nilipewa ama nipewe?
Wewe ukakataa, ulipewa offer kwa table.
No, mimi niliona Twitter kumsema akipiga story hapo. Dem fulani alika story kwa Twitter. Ikaanza kushika. Akadelete. Na sijui kama analiletea story. Anasema nimelipwa pesa.
No, sio umelipwa, uliletewa deal.
Ndio nakwambia, sasa story ikaanzia hapo pia. Ikaanzia Owen anapewa pesa. Kama hajapewa, maybe anataka kupewa. You understand my point? Whether I'm given money or not, I cannot take that money.
Has it happened? Maybe kuna mtu ameoffer maybe kukupa.
Hata anaoffer nifanye nini na pesa? I don't know if you.
Has it happened?
No. I can tell you the truth. Haija happen. All nimepata ni threats. But hizo ndio nimeambia wase, I'll deal with these people when we meet.
But what if it happens? Upewe milioni 100.
Siwezi chukua. I cannot take because
unaacha pesa hivyo.
Let me tell you the truth. Mimi nimepitia situations mingi that we were given money in a situation whereby you feel like you're struggling in life, but you can't take because of your virtues and what you stand for. Because can you imagine hii kelele yote anapiga hapa sahi, I am skinny nimechukua pesa, you look at me and you're like, hey, this, you understand? Yeah. Because for me it's not about money, for me it's about our foundation and our posterity. I believe our kids, I'm a parent. As a parent, I'm speaking as a parent. As a parent, I will not allow such thing to happen. And if I have such a platform and a brand that God has blessed me with, let me use it to stand for the truth. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe uko na sorry.
Kuna mwisho tu. Umekuwa Rwanda na Eve.
Nyinyi wacheni.
Ndio shemegi yetu pia. Tumekuwa pale na Eve.
Umeniona hapa na Eve?
Tumekuwa na kule
aliruka hiyo story.
Mmeniona na Eve. Okay, mniona naye.
Ukiwa Rwanda.
Alipost.
Okay, alipost. Okay, mimi mliona. Kama yeye alipost, mlionekana niko naye. Toeni picha hata mmoja kama niko naye. Toeni picha, mkitoa hiyo picha.
Yeye alipost.
Mkitoa hiyo picha. Ndio jibu hii swali. Toa hiyo picha. Kama mko na hiyo picha. Na wewe hivi simuulize, si mko na handle yake muulizeni wewe ulikuwa na radio yenu huko.
Congratulations. Nangoja kule rais. Tumisha vitenge.
Wewe agenda reveal.
Oye, kwani
siku hizi ni helicopters zina reveal.
Private jet reveal.
Kwani historia hii wote ni China. Historia hii iendani. Yaani wacha tu hii kuja jitetee. Lakini